How's it going, everybody? Daner here with North Central Coins, and welcome back to another episode of the most rare and valuable coins in Canada. Today we're going to be discussing a few Canadian coins that can be worth tens of thousands of dollars that you probably had no idea even existed. Because these coins only have a few known examples, their rarity is only exceeded by their value, and even though you probably won't ever find any of these floating out in the wilds of circulation or in your pocket change, crazier things have happened, and you should never say never in the world of coin collecting. In this video, we will explore the historical context surrounding the production of these incredibly rare and valuable pieces of currency and delve into why they hold such importance in Canadian numismatic history. Additionally, we will discuss the distinguishing and identifying features, their significance among collectors, and also potential value if you were ever to find a legitimate example. Before I do get into this, I would really appreciate if you guys would smash that thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and ring that bell notification so you can stay up to date with my new content. Also, make sure to stay to the end of the video if you guys would like to find out how much you could get for these coins if you were ever to find them. And then without further ado, what do you say we get right into it and discuss the 1937 Canadian pattern or trial coins? Let's get it, guys. Canadian pattern or trial coins are special and unique coins that are created by the Canadian Mint during the design and production process of new currency or coinage changes. They serve as prototypes or test pieces to evaluate various aspects of the coin, including design, metal composition, weight, and durability. These coins are not usually intended for general circulation, but are instead produced for internal purposes and to assess how new coinage will perform. So how do pattern or trial coins come into existence? Well, it begins with the design phase, where artists and engravers create the initial coin design. This design may undergo several revisions to ensure that it meets artistic, historical, and also technical standards. The Canadian Mint experiments with different metal compositions to assess their durability for circulation. This involves variations in the alloy mix and also the surface finishes, such as matte or proof-like. Once a design and metal composition are selected, a small number of trial coins are minted using specialized equipment. These coins then undergo rigorous quality control to ensure that they meet the Mint standards. The trial coins are then subjected to extensive testing, including durability assessments and also wear resistance checks. This step is crucial to ensure that the new coinage will withstand the demands of circulation. Mint officials and experts review the trial coins and assess whether they meet all necessary criteria. Any adjustments or modifications are made as needed, and after approval, the Mint can proceed with mass production of the approved coin design, which eventually enters general circulation. Now, what is the possibility of finding these coins in your pocket change? Well, the chance of finding Canadian pattern or trial coins in your pocket change is exceedingly rare. These coins are never intended for general circulation, and they are usually retained by the Canadian Mint for reference purposes, archive collections, or occasionally offered to collectors during special events. Collectors, numismatists, and historians are the primary seekers of Canadian pattern and trial coins. These coins hold significant historical and numismatic value due to their unique designs, metal composition, and also the insights they offer into the coinage development process. If you ever come across a coin that looks unusual or different from standard circulation coins, it's at least worth having examined by an expert or professional numismatist, as it could potentially be a rare pattern or trial coin. In the year 1936, following the death of King George V, the Canadian Mint decided to change the reverse designs for all of the Canadian coin denominations except for the half dollar and the dollar. The Mint also needed to create coinage that featured the new monarch King George VI portrait. Renowned Canadian coin designer Thomas Shingles was tasked with creating these new designs. For the obverse of the coin, Thomas Shingles crafted a portrait of King George VI. This portrait had to be both artistically compelling and representative of the new monarch. It went through several iterations and reviews before being finalized. Simultaneously, new reverse designs for various denominations were also being developed. These new reverse designs aim to depict Canadian symbols, flora, and fauna. For example, the nickel featured a beaver and the quarter a caribou. These designs aim to celebrate Canada's natural heritage. Once the designs were finalized, trial coins were minted for testing and review. These trial coins went through rigorous quality control and assessments to ensure that they met both artistic and technical standards. Creating an accurate and detailed portrait of King George VI was a challenge. His likeness had to be both faithful to the king's image and artistically appealing. Achieving this balance required great skill. Transitioning from one set of coin designs to another on a large scale was logistically challenging. The Canadian Mint had to retool its machinery and processes to accommodate the new designs efficiently. There was a concern that the public might not immediately recognize the new designs, leading to confusion in everyday transactions. To address this, educational campaigns were launched to familiarize Canadians with the new coins. Coin collectors and numismatists alike eagerly awaited these new designs. The Canadian Mint had to ensure that these collectors had access to the new coins while maintaining adequate supplies for everyday circulation. The transition itself was of historical significance, marking the change in Canadian monarchy from King George V to King George VI. This transition was documented and commemorated on some coins. The process of transitioning Canadian coin designs from King George V to King George VI in 1936 to 1937 involved meticulous design work, rigorous testing, and adjustments to production processes. Challenges included ensuring the accuracy of the king's portrait, preparing for mass production, and also educating the public about the new designs. This transition not only affected the aesthetics of Canadian coins, but also marked an important moment in Canadian history. So during this experimental and tumultuous time at the Canadian Mint, several trial pieces were issued for all of the denominations except for the dollar. It's very interesting to note the composition change the Mint was testing for the new circulation coinage, as well as a different orientation for the die axis. Canadian coins will usually come in metal alignment, meaning the obverse and reverse are both lined up facing the same way. When these test pieces were being issued, with the exception of a test quarter that was kept in metal alignment, all of the other denominations were struck in coin alignment, meaning the obverse and reverse were rotated 180 degrees. This could have been in an attempt to make Canadian coinage more similar to our American coin neighbors to the south. Coins in the United States are typically struck in coin alignment, and after Canada changed the 1 and 5 cent coins to nearly identical size and specs to their American counterparts, it wouldn't surprise me if they were experimenting with changing the die axis as well to be more similar to United States coinage. By doing this, it would have somewhat set a standard for North American coins, but eventually Canada decided to keep our coins in metal alignment, which was more in keeping with British and Australian coinage. So all of that being said, what do you say we get into the value and specifications for these Holy Grail trial or pattern coins? As I mentioned earlier, chances are that not too many of these, if any, made it out of the mint, and if they did make it out, it was most likely by accident or because they were smuggled out of the mint. But just because there are only a few known examples of a coin doesn't mean there aren't any of that piece in circulation. If you look at the 1943 and 1944 copper and steel Lincoln cents, hundreds of those coins were produced, some even at different mint locations, and the United States Mint is not any more renowned for their quality control than the Canadian Mint. So if legendary pennies like those can slip through the cracks and make their way into our pocket change, I don't see any reason why these coins couldn't be discovered one day as well. So I'm going to go through each of the coins and give you the specs because they are a little different for each of the different denominations. You definitely want to do your due diligence and make sure all of these specs are bang on, and if any of them are not, then it may not be legitimate. You might ask why someone would counterfeit coins like this, but if you go on sites like Wish or eBay and some of the online shopping marketplaces, you can find oodles of different counterfeit coins from every country and walk of life, and usually, to be honest, it will be coins like these that will be the most reproduced. So first, I will give you guys the specifications, and then I will give you the value for each of the denominations as we go through. So first is the 1937 trial or pattern 1 cent coin. Now this coin is composed of brass. It has a weight of 3.1 grams, a diameter of 19.1 millimeters. The die axis is in coin alignment, and all of these coins will receive SP grades, which is the specimen designation. Even though they are trial or pattern pieces, they are not intended for circulation, so that is why they are given the specimen grade. But in terms of value, this is an incredibly rare coin that can be worth up to $20,000 for an SP65 example. Next up, we have the 1937 5 cent trial or pattern piece. This coin is composed of brass. It has a weight of 4.98 grams, a diameter of 21.5 millimeters. The die axis is in coin alignment. In terms of value, you're going to find a lot of these coins have very similar values. They can all be worth around $10,000 for an SP62 example, so probably around $5,000 for an SP60, but it can be worth all the way up to $20,000 for an SP65 example, and that is for the 1937 5-cent pattern piece. Next up, we have the 1937 10-cent pattern or trial coin. It is composed of brass. It has a weight of 2.46 grams, a diameter of 18.3 millimeters. The die axis is in coin alignment, and in terms of value, it can be worth around $10,000 for an SP62 and all the way up to $20,000 for an SP65. Now, in the year 1937, they actually issued two different trial or pattern coins for the Canadian 25-cent piece. One of them is in coin alignment, another is in metal alignment, and they are actually composed of different alloys as well. Now, first we'll start off with the 25-cent pattern or trial that is coded DC22. It is composed of brass. It has a weight of 6.1 grams, a diameter of 23.9 millimeters. The edge of the coin is reeded, and it has a die axis in coin alignment, just like the other patterns or trials that we covered previously. In terms of value, this one is pretty similar to the other ones on the list. It can be worth around $10,000 for an SP62 and all the way up to $20,000 for an SP65 example. And then we have the second variation of the 25-cent pattern trial piece from 1937. This one is coded DC24. It is actually composed of bronze. The other one was composed of brass. This one has an alloy composition of bronze. It has a weight of 5.5 grams, a diameter of 23.6 millimeters. The edge of the coin is reeded. Now, something very interesting to note is that the die axis for this quarter is actually in metal alignment, as is the standard for most Canadian coins and also British and Australian. So that is how you tell this one apart. This is the DC24 variant, and in terms of value, it has just about the same value as all of the other coins on this list, worth around $10,000 for an SP62 and all the way up to $20,000 for an SP65. And then we come to the last of these holy grail SA pattern or trial coins, whatever you like to refer to them as. They can get any of those designations or labels, but this is the 50-cent piece, and it is the most valuable and also rarest of the bunch. Now, the 50-cent 1937 pattern SA or trial coin is composed of brass. It has a weight of 14.9 grams, a diameter of 30 millimeters. The edge of the coin is reeded. The die axis is in coin alignment. And in terms of value, this one can be worth around $40,000 for an SP63 and all the way up to $60,000 for an SP65. So worth about 3 times as much as the other denominations. This is the one that you want to look for, but unfortunately, 50-cent coins are not circulated here in Canada anymore. The only way that you can ever really get them from the bank is if somebody turns them in and then you get lucky and go there on the day or maybe week that somebody turned them in and the tellers are nice enough to turn them over to you. And then the chances of having one of these holy grail coins inside of that bag is pretty much slim to nil, but never say never. Crazier things have happened, and if you keep your eyes open and you know what to look for, your chances of being able to find and identify these coins is definitely a lot better than not knowing anything about them or having them on your radar. But what do you guys think about these Canadian trial or pattern coins from 1937? What would you do if you ever found a legitimate example, or if you ever have found any coins similar to the ones discussed in this video? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to know. Also, I would really appreciate if you guys would smash that thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and also ring that bell notification so you can stay up to date with my new content. But I think that is pretty much going to do it for this one, folks. So until the next one, everybody, peace out and have a good one, y'all.